intro. It's good. We're here. Facebook, I've been talking to Instagram and Twitter for a couple of minutes here, and the best stuff I had to share, I've already shared, so you missed it. What can I say? It's over, it's gone. Technology, okay? Just kidding. Welcome to Leadership for the Future, where every single week we get together, same time, same place, same place, to talk about what leadership means, the psychology and the strategies for leading both your life and your business. So again, if you're on Instagram, please regram, please invite. If you're on Twitter, please help me help you, help those you love and care about, and just retweet. On Facebook, there's a share button right down here, and it's really easy. Many of you do this every single week. Just click that share button and share with your families, friends, and followers. Now, while we're waiting for everyone to get settled here, I'm going to encourage you to take some notes today. And I know maybe you're not accustomed to doing that. And I'm going to encourage you to take handwritten notes. And you go, oh my God, James, that's old school. You know, I get it. I take electronic notes as well, but what research in neurosciences proves is that handwritten notes literally engages the right brain, which facilitates whole brain learning. And so, you know, get your pad out, because we're going to talk about some things here that might rock your world, rock the boat, if you get them, when you get them. While we're waiting for that to occur, I'm going to wait for you to grab your pen and paper, hopefully. Let me just shout out to those of you who shared last week, because this community is growing around the world, and I always love you weighing in down below and telling me where you're from and who's here, so please do that. And here's the people who helped me help you, help those that you love and care about last week. Darlene Smith. Thank you, Darlene. Glad to see you back. I know you've been busy. Anthony Rogers, Tracy Egger, Lana Monday, Norma Mendez. We are all one. Yes, we are. Sandy Arango, Paul Campbell from Hot Atlanta, Sean Morse, Higher Front of Honreo, Rob, Genius, the Rogers Twins, too, shared as well. Thank you, guys. Love you guys. Jyoti Aurora, Nancy Winters, Karina Ganesser. Ganesser? That's a new name, I think, Barrett. Thank you, Karina. I hope you're here today, and thank you so much for sharing. Pauline Lund, Russ Littow, Nora Jones, Jay Lee, Tommy, Allen, Raines, Sunstar, Goal Setting, a.k.a. Kristen. Thank you so much for sharing, and please keep it up. I truly appreciate it. Now, here's what we're going to talk about today. And before I tell you what it is, it has to do with leadership, and maybe it's not something you've heard about in a leadership context before, but I'm going to promise you it's absolutely vital. That being said, research proves, as well as my own personal experience, that the majority of people in this world have a large quantity, or have very little quantity, I should say, of this quality. What's the quality? Let me take a drink. The quality of leadership that very few people have in large amounts is self-awareness. Self-awareness. Knowing really who you are and why you are. Now, why this is vital, this is vital to successfully start a business, grow a business, and lead a business, or even lead a successful life. Very few people, in fact, I'd say it's virtually non-existent. True self-awareness. And you go to James, I know who I am. Are you sure about that? Take some notes, because I'm going to give you some insights here that maybe will help you. I know they will help you when they're applied. Now, most people I interact with on a regular basis, and I've worked in 143 different countries around the world. I've been blessed to do this with over 1 million people, have a very low amount of self-awareness. It's not your fault. It really isn't. It is your responsibility, but it's not your fault. Now remember, we discussed in last week's episode that leadership is about taking absolute responsibility. And by the way, this is episode number 53. And so if you're behind, I got you covered there. Just go to jamesray.com/live-cast. And they're all there in a library. You can catch up. Last week we talked about self-awareness, so I'm not going to get deeply into that again here today. But I will tell you that absolute responsibility, that it is your responsibility to become self-aware, even though very few people are. And it's vital. It's vital. Now, I'm going to blow out today some of the traditional thinking and some of the collective way of thinking. So what else is new, right? I mean, if you didn't like that, you wouldn't be here. And I think hopefully that's one of the things you come here for. So buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because I'm going to blow away some of the things you've been told consistently and tell you that they might be absolutely untrue, or they may be at best partially true. Hang with me. Now, it's not your fault if you don't have a lot of self-awareness, which chances are great that you don't. Most people don't. It's not your fault. It is your responsibility. Why is it not your fault? Well, because the school system is failing us. Let's just be real. Our traditional school system, I don't care what country you're in, I know we have people from all around the world here, teach us primarily to read, remember, and repeat. Right? I mean, think about this. Go back in your mind to the days of your schooling, even college. Free thinkers are not the individuals who get rewarded. Right? I mean, think about grade school, think about junior high, think about high school, even college. Free thinkers are not the ones who get rewarded. In fact, they often get labeled as ADHD, right? Well, let me just, I'm not going to go on this tangent, although I very well could. You know, ADHD or ADD is complete bullshit. There's no such thing as an attention deficit disorder. Everybody's paying attention to something, but people, young adults, get labeled ADD because they're not paying attention to what the teachers want them to pay attention to. And they're not paying attention because it's pretty damn boring, right? And so, you know, the people who get rewarded are the people who fit in the box, the people who read, remember, and repeat, the people who assimilate. And that's what you've been encouraged to do since day one. I mean, here's the fact. We've made quantum leaps in technology and in economics, and we're still basically teaching the same way that we taught back in the Agrarian Age. Our school systems have not kept up or caught up. We can't blame the school system because, remember, I said it's not your fault if you're not self-aware. I mean, how many times were you encouraged to find your own unique genius? How many times were you encouraged to define your purpose? How many times were you encouraged to be unique? How many times were you encouraged to think outside the box? You weren't. You weren't. And so it's not your fault. It is your responsibility, though. I mean, what you've been not encouraged to do was to be authentic. What you've been not encouraged to do is to become clearly aware of who you are. You know, find your unique gifts and purpose. You've been encouraged again, and I'm being repetitive here, but I want this message to get through. You've been encouraged to assimilate. And he or she who assimilates the best gets rewarded the most. Right? You've been encouraged to follow the market and the masses. Right? Follow the money. Where's the job market going? Follow the job market. You know, here's what you've been conditioned with. If you're not good at math, your teacher will probably tell you, study harder. You know, you got to do more math. Work harder. Not me. If you're not good at math, like I was never good at math, I don't give a shit. I'm still not good at math. I have people who handle math. You know, I'm smart enough to know that someone needs to be good at math, but it's not me because that's not my unique gift and genius. And so what I would say to you is if you're not good at math, forget math. put your energy and effort into what you have been gifted with by your Creator. Play your A game. Think about this. If you were to take the same amount of energy that you put into the things you're not good at, to try to bring them up to average at best, if you took that same energy and put it into your genius, into your greatness, into your gifts, think how much more masterful those gifts would become. Does that make sense to you? But that's not how we're conditioned to play in this world. And I would suggest to you, we need to break away from our conditioning. Easier said than done. You see, I've told you this countless times. If you don't have the opportunity to become absolutely great at something, please don't waste your precious and finite physical time in this lifetime trying to do it. Now, I'm one of the few, if only people that I know of, I could be wrong, there may be some others out there, but I don't know of them who are talking to you in this way, who are telling you, most people are saying, hey, I made, $2 million on the internet, let me teach you how to do it in a couple of years in 5 easy steps. No, I'm not ever going to say that to you. I'm going to say to you, what are you great at? What did God gift you with? Now, let's figure out how to leverage that and utilize that and go all in on that to become a leader of your own life and of your business. Does that make sense to you? It takes a new way of thinking. You see, here's the bottom line. Whether you're consciously aware of it or not, you are born to be great. You are hardwired by the creative source, by universal intelligence, by God. Choose whatever you choose to call the creative source. You are hardwired. It's in your basic DNA to be great. But not everyone is hardwired to be great at everything. And in this homogenized world that we live in, certain things are sexy and exciting. And because we have low-level self-awareness, we go, oh, I'm going to do that. Well, no, you're not. No, you're not. How many, I don't remember the statistics, but just in America alone, it's something like 85-90% of the people say they want to write a book. And some of those people can't even put a sentence together. I'm not being disrespectful here. I'm just saying, no, write your life story. Write your life story with your gifts and your greatness. Screw what society says and screw what other people say is sexy and cool and might make you a lot of money. That's going to land you, that strategy. Follow the masses in the market that you were taught in traditional school is going to land you in the 71% club. I talk a lot about the 71% club because it's sad. Gallup tells us that 71% of the people surveyed are unhappy, they're disengaged, they're totally uninspired, they're absolutely miserable in their work. That's sad. Life is too short. Life is too precious. And get this, 71% are only the people that are admitting it. I shouldn't laugh. But how many people do you think really aren't even admitting that they're miserable? Oh, they're just putting on a positive smiley face. Everything's great, right? No, that strategy of follow the masses, follow the market, follow the money. I'm not saying money's not important. Of course, hopefully by now, you know me, that I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is fulfillment is important. Greatness is important. Your life is important. And when you live to your level of greatness and genius, then the money that is appropriate will follow you. Much more so than when you're attempting to follow something else. Does that make sense to you? Now look, so I've laid this foundation. So you might be asking, well, James, so what do I follow? All right, here's your notes. I'm going to give you 3 things. 3 things, and we're going to blow out some of the crap that you've heard. Crap's a technical term. We're going to blow out some of the crap that you heard. All right? Here we go. 3 things. You've got to equally follow I'll give you all three, and then we'll come back and flesh them out. They equally follow your head, your heart, and your gut. Your head, your heart, and your gut. You know, one of my Prometheus members was asking this question just earlier this week, or maybe it was late last week. You know, Prometheans are a community where we're learning to be masterful coaches and business consultants, not just run-of-the-mill. You know, these are individuals who commit to a 3-year process, not a 3-day event. A 3-year process to become great. And he was asking, he said, you know, everyone's telling me to follow my heart. You know, what should I do? Because I come from the Christian tradition, and the Christian tradition tells me the heart can be evil, and it can be manipulative, and it can tell me the wrong things. He's right. And so is the Bible, by the way, in that case. But I'll come back to that. You got to follow 3 things: your head, your heart, and your gut. All right? Now, I will also tell you that any of those 3 things by themselves are counterproductive and insufficient. I told you I was going to push some buttons and blow some things out here today. We're just getting started. Now look, contrary to popular belief, you've heard this little ditty, this little meme: information is power. Bullshit. Okay, excuse me. Information is not power. Information is nothing more than potential power. You with me on this? Look, if information were power, then the PhDs on this planet would be knocking it down. We have more information and some of them can't even rub 2 nickels together, and they're miserable. You know, we have more information at our fingertips in today's world. You can learn anything about anything on a place called Google, just like that, right? If information were power, then every single person on this planet would be powerful. From Africa to India to United States to Europe, you know, it didn't matter. Cambodia, it doesn't, you know, information is power. It's not power. It's potential power. All right? Get that. Look, let's look at the word. You know, I'm a student of language and linguistics. I should be able to say linguistics a little more elegantly then, shouldn't I? But look at the word information. Information. Maybe you haven't thought about it that way. You know, in the Latin, the prefix "in" means to be. Inform, to be, form. Mation. Look, information, herein lies a major problem. Information is a blessing and a curse, as Moses said when he came down from Mount Sinai. You know, here's a major problem, because form without spirit has no life or vitality, has no heart or soul. Information alone it resides in the head, right? So remember I said to you, you got to follow 3 things: head, heart, gut. If you're just following your head, you get a lot of information. You know, you're going to study how to be an online marketer, and you're going to study how to do webinars, and you're going to study how to become a public speaker, and you're going to study how this and how that, and you know, this now that. You know, we got people running around who have more information that they've never ever put into practice, and they've never done a damn thing with. And so, you know, come on, you gotta agree with me on this one. Just put it down below. I'll come back and check it out later. Just write, yes, I agree. And I'll know when I see that you're with me here. You got to agree with me that information cannot be power. Because we're inundated with it. Everywhere. And it resides in the head. And so the head alone, when you follow your head alone, remember I said all 3 of them have to be present. If you only have one, it's insufficient. You follow your head alone, that leads to sterility. It leads to burnout. It leads to lack of fulfillment. It leads to the 71% club. You know? That's what's happening here. How much training did you get in heart and gut in your traditional school system? 0. Right? 71% club. You know, suicide is at the highest rate it's ever been in our recorded history. Why? Because people are following the head. They're following the market and the money. They're listening to all the things that everyone is regurgitating over and over and over again. They're going, oh, that's going to make me happy. No, it's not. No, it's not. So what about the heart? Let's talk about the heart. Right? How many times have you seen posted on the internet? Do what you love. Right? Follow your heart. I was talking to someone, you know, a fairly well-known name in the personal development industry, you know, a couple weeks ago. He goes, but James, what about your heart? I'm like, look, you follow your heart. And let's just be frank here. Oh, this is going to push some buttons, right? Follow your heart. Do what you love. You know, and I've done research, man. I'm telling you. You know, what do you love to do? Well, I love going to the beach and drinking margaritas. All right, well, you follow that and see, you know, how long you have money to buy margaritas, right? You end up living in a tent on the beach. You know, follow your love. You know, no, because the heart is the seat of emotions. And you, like me, know someone who makes all their decisions and lives their entire life based entirely on their emotions, right? Energy in motion, emotion, energy in motion. It moves the body to act. And these people who live entirely on emotion are like wild boars on steroids, right? It will take you, following your heart alone, will take you on a roller coaster ride to hell, right? I mean, come on, let's be frank here. How many people follow their heart into a romantic relationship and it soon becomes a living hell, right? They end up in divorce. Why? Let me tell you why. Because you can't know what you love until you know who you are. And no, the video didn't freeze. That's called a pause for emphasis, right? You can't know. You can't know what you love. Oh, I love that. I love being a public speaker. No, come talk to me about 250 days a year on the road, 4 hours of sleep, trying to run a business from an airplane terminal. No, come talk to me about public speaker before you tell me you love that, because you don't know what you love. That's just frank. You know, when I coach people, I got to be real. I got to be raw. I got to say it up front. I'm not here to burst bubbles. I'm here to create empires, help you create your empire. And you can't know what you love until you clearly know who you are. Self-awareness is job number one. Are you with? Can you tell I'm passionate about this? How can you tell me what you love if you don't even know who you are? Well, James, I know who I am. Really? Why do you love certain cars? Why do you think you want a certain income? Why do you want a certain zip code? Why do you want a woman or a man that looks like this? Why do you want a woman or a man that treats you like this? You don't know, because you've been programmed from the time you were knee-high to a grasshopper, and unless you're highly unusual, then you haven't taken the time to stop and do the work. Self-awareness, job number one of leadership. Okay? So that's the heart. Then we talk about the gut. Let's talk about the gut. You know, neuroscience proves to us now, science proves to us, there are more neurological connections in your gut than there are in your head. There's also a heart brain. There's neurological connections in the heart too. So when it says in the Christian tradition, as he thinketh in his heart, that's not a metaphor, that's a reality. Okay? But it's incomplete thinking unless it's congruent across all three. I hope you're with me on this. It's a game changer. It's a game changer when you get it. Gut. Your gut is where your intuition resides. Again, let's break that word down. Intuition. Tuition is what you pay to be schooled, right? Inner teacher, your inner guide, your inner teacher. You know, how many times have you heard someone say, I get this feeling in my gut? It's real. It's real. Your intuition, when you learn to develop it and you learn to tune into it, it resides in your gut. And that's where purpose comes through. That's where higher inspiration comes through. You see, higher conscious mind doesn't talk to your head. It doesn't talk to your head. Your head will mess you up every single time. I'm not saying head isn't important. Of course it's important. It's 1/3 of the equation, though. I'm not saying heart isn't important. Of course it's important. It's 1/3 of the equation. And then we get your gut, another 1/3 of the equation. This is where your inspiration is. But look, let's face it, inspiration, intuition, without emotion, energy in motion. And without strategy, vision, direction, head, right, is a total waste of space. Do you get this? How many people do you know that get inspired? Oh, I got these great ideas and I get this inspiration flooding through me, and they don't do a damn thing with it. Why? Because they're not going 3 for 3. I'm getting ahead of myself. But they haven't got all 3 of these things going together. Let me repeat this. This is critical. Are you taking notes? Most people aren't. So if you are, you're already in the 3%, the upper 3%, all right? And if you aren't yet, when would now be the time to start taking it? Because this is good stuff, I'm telling you. It's not my stuff, I'm just delivering it. I got inspired to do it. I got my heart involved, energy and motion, to write it, and then I put some direction and some format and some strategy around it so I could present it in some kind of a understandable order. You see how those 3 things work together, and they all have to be there. In every great esoteric tradition, every great alchemy, every great anything, any great entrepreneur will tell you, and I've interviewed the best of the best. Let me tell you, I've shared the stage with many of them. They will tell you they make a lot of their decisions following their gut, following their intuition, because your head, sometimes your head, thinks it's totally illogical. And you got too much mind. Too much mind. So look, form without spirit, I told you, has no energy or vitality. And so here's spirit, inspiration, inspiritus, to be spirit, is in the gut. But spirit without form has no function. Oh, I'm so spiritual, James. You know, I've got a meditation room and I got some Nag Champa burning and I'm chanting Om and I'm just, you know, tapping into infinity. Yeah, been there. What the hell are you going to do with it now? Because if you can't bring spirit into form, you're a total waste of space and time. With all respect. You see, spirit and form are both vital. And if you don't like the word spirit, use energy. Flip over to science, use energy. Science tells us it's all the same stuff, right? And so I've taught you for over a decade. that you got to go 3 for 3. You know, back during the peak of The Secret, I was the only guy saying you got to go 3 for 3. I was the only guy saying, oh, you know, 60% of the word attraction is action, right? I was the only guy saying, hey, hang on a second. You sit in your living room visualizing all day, they'll come take your furniture away, right? Now some others are changing their tune as time goes on, right? But the fact is, I've been telling you this for over a decade, well over a decade. You got to go 3 for 3. Back during that time period, I said your thoughts, feelings, and actions all must be firing in alignment. To achieve what you desire and deserve, you've got to go 3 for 3, not 2 for 3, not 1 for 3, but 3 for 3. They all have to be happening. And so, let me just put a different angle on it here today with regard to self-awareness. Let me give you a little bit more. And obviously, I don't have time here to get into full depth and detail like I would love to. I do my best to keep it tight and concise for you because you're probably taking a break at work. Maybe you're sneaking it. Don't get caught. But self-awareness, number one. 3 for 3. Number one, self-image, head. Your self-image are your thoughts. It's what you believe and think about yourself. It's what you believe and think you are capable of doing. It's what you believe you are here to do and called to do. And I would tell you that self-image in today's world, because of limited self-awareness, is one of the most difficult. Because to see things clearly, as the Buddha said, see the world clearly, exactly as it is, you've got to be able to break away and disconnect from your conditioning. You've got to be able to break away and form your own values apart from what society tells you is sexy, cool, or might make you a lot of money or maybe make you famous. And that's not an easy task. It's just not. Self-image, head, self-esteem. You've heard of these things. Heart. These are your feelings and emotions. These are important. And there's a difference between feeling and emotion, by the way. I'm not going to get into them today because of time, but they're distinctly different. They're close cousins, but feelings and emotions are different, right? And you know, your feelings about what you're doing, your emotion, your energy in motion moves your body to act. You know, Dan Goleman's research proves that emotional intelligence is 2 times more likely to predict business success than intellectual intelligence. Wow. Right? And then there's number 3. So we got self-image, self-esteem, self-confidence. Self-confidence is in the gut. This is the courage to act and act boldly. This is the grit. Now look, a lot of people think that grit and perseverance are the same thing. They're not. Grit is founded in purpose. Grit comes from purpose. You can persevere through a painful illness because you must. But grit means you continue because you're committed to something of a higher nature than your own selfish needs. You get the difference? Grit brings greater perseverance, and it comes first because it's founded in purpose, and that resides in the gut. You can think great thoughts, you can feel great feelings all day long, but until you put them into bold, purposeful action, they're a total waste of time and space. Gut is where purpose and intuition reside. Listen to it. It's your inner teacher. It's your inner teacher. Get the spark there and then fan it into flames of unlimited achievement by engaging the heart and the head. The head is the direction. The heart is the feeling and emotion. The gut is the intuition. This is self-awareness. It gets you started, and it's job number 1. Let me ask you, here's a question for your own self-awareness. There's no value in lying to yourself. How self-aware are you? Really? See, if you say not very, then that means you're actually more self-aware than someone goes, oh, I'm totally self-aware. And they're not. Right? Because to know that you're not very self-aware yet gives you a target. It gives you an awareness. It means you're more aware than those who go, oh, I'm totally self-aware. I got my shit together, James. I knew all this stuff before I ever came. Okay? Well, your results tell an interesting story. Make it job number 1. Self-awareness is job number 1 at all 3 levels. Your head, your heart, your gut, self-image, self-esteem, self-confidence, courage. In this time of great change, The world needs your leadership. It does. Your life, your family, your children, your friends need your leadership. Will you be the one to take the power back? I hope I've given you some things today to put into practice and into action. And let me just tell you, my 1x10 formula, I've shared it with you before, but it bears repeating. Every single dollar you invest in your own personal awareness, self-awareness, development, advancement, growth in yourself will return to you very conservatively 10 times over. I call that my 1x10 formula. You know, most people invest more in a car than they invest in their own self-awareness. Most people invest more, in a vacation than they invest in their own self-awareness. Let that not be you. The world is crying for your leadership, and it's waiting. You're the one it's waiting for. Until we speak again, as always, thank you so much for being here. Please share, stay awake, love life, and be epic.